The alarms cut through the station like shards of glass. Red lights flickered along the corridors of the orbital research station, painting the walls in a frantic pulse. Rylan Voss stepped off the transport shuttle, his boots echoing on the metal deck, eyes scanning the chaos. Smoke hissed from a vent nearby, sparks leaping as though the station itself were angry. Containment breach in Sector 7. All personnel evacuate. The automated voice repeated, cold and relentless. Rylan ignored it. In his arms, wrapped gently in a silver blanket, was a creature that no one expected. A small dragon hatchling, its scales glinting like molten metal, eyes wide with curiosity. The hatchling chirped, a soft, high-pitched sound that seemed to hum against the station's alarms. Everyone in the hallway froze. Some stepped back alarmed. Others just stared, mouths hanging open. "Wait," Rylan said, his voice steady but urgent. "It's not dangerous. It can help." A scientist in a lab coat glanced at him, disbelief written across his face. "A dragon? Here. On the station? You brought it instead of a partner?" Rylan didn't answer. He moved faster than the panic around him, navigating through smoke and sparking conduits toward Sector 7. Every second counted. The containment unit at the far end of the corridor pulsed erratically, energy fields flickering like lightning caught in a cage. A misstep and the station could lose its core systems. The hatchling wriggled in his arms, chirping louder, and Rylan felt the tiny heartbeat beneath his hand sync with the pulse of the containment unit. Sparks danced along the edges of the field, but the dragon's scales shimmered brighter, reacting. It was almost communicating. Rylan set it down carefully on the console beside the unit. The creature's tail flicked, brushing over buttons, its eyes glowing. The energy pulses stuttered, then steadied. A hiss of steam and a bright flare lit the console, but the system calmed. Rylan allowed himself a brief, quiet smile. Small payoff, the hatchling had stabilized the unit before it could explode. "You're telling me this little thing just saved the station?" the scientist whispered, disbelief still in his voice. Rylan's eyes didn't leave the containment unit. "It's more than it seems," he said. "And we don't have time to question it." The hatchling chirped again, and a thin stream of light projected from its body, forming alien symbols over the console's display. No one recognized the patterns. Not the crew. Not even the AI that normally ran everything. The symbols flickered and shifted like the hatchling was trying to explain something, or warn them. A deep rumble shook the station. Rylan glanced upward. Through the reinforced glass of the observation deck, he could see the gas giant looming, storms raging across its surface. The station rocked as a magnetic pulse from the planet's storms slammed against the outer hull. Another containment unit, this one holding an experimental energy crystal, began to hum uncontrollably. Sparks erupted, alarms blared anew. Rylan's jaw tightened. He scooped up the hatchling again, holding it close. "Stay calm," he murmured. The hatchling chirped back, tail brushing his arm. He raced down the corridor, mind already calculating. If he could place the hatchling near the secondary containment field, maybe they could stabilize it together. Crew members followed hesitantly, inspired despite their fear. They moved with him, drawn by his confidence, by the calm bravery that radiated from a human willing to risk everything for something others couldn't understand. The station AI's voice cut in. "Unauthorized entity detected. Human intervention advised. Risk level, critical." Rylan didn't hesitate. He leapt across a broken section of the floor, sparks crackling beneath him. The hatchling wriggled in his grip, wings fluttering. He landed beside the humming containment unit. The creature chirped sharply and pressed its tiny claws against the panel. Energy arcs danced around its body, and the unit stuttered, then stabilized once more. A cheer broke from the crew, but it was short-lived. The hatchling's eyes widened, glowing intensely, and the symbols it projected shifted violently. The air felt charged, alive. The station's systems flickered in response. Something deeper was waking up inside the station, or inside the hatchling itself. Rylan froze, heart pounding. He felt a surge of heat from the creature's body, a strange power that was both dangerous and mesmerizing. Around them, the station seemed to breathe, alive with potential threat. The hatchling looked at him and chirped, not like a normal animal but like it was trying to speak, to warn, to command. And then a section of the wall behind them twisted open. Not doors. Not an airlock. Something alien had been hidden inside the station all along. Its eyes glowed faintly in the shadows, reflecting the hatchling's light. It moved silently, deliberate, watching. Rylan's grip tightened on the hatchling. Every instinct screamed danger. But he didn't falter. He had no choice. Whatever this was, whatever lay ahead, it would recognize only courage and intelligence. And he had both. The hatchling chirped again, louder this time, and the alien in the shadows tilted its head. A spark of understanding, or challenge, passed between them. Rylan exhaled, his pulse steadying. He knew the real test had only just begun. Rylan didn't wait. He pressed the hatchling close against his chest and edged forward, every footstep measured, aware that the shadowed figure watching from the wall could strike at any second. The hatchling chirped sharply, its wings quivering as though warning him to be careful. Sparks flickered across the corridor floor from damaged conduits, and a low hum from the alien containment pods vibrated through the deck. "Move back," one of the crew shouted. But Rylan held firm. He could see the alien entity now, a shimmering shape that seemed to flicker in and out of reality, almost like a ripple in the air. Its eyes, pale and unblinking, tracked the hatchling's every move. The creature didn't attack, but the tension it radiated was enough to make the skin crawl. Rylan knew the danger wasn't just physical. Every second wasted could destabilize the station further. The gas giant outside continued to batter the hull with magnetic storms. Energy surges hit the outer panels, causing localized power failures. A small section of the station's gravity grid flickered off, sending unsecured tools and debris floating midair. He crouched beside the secondary containment field. The hatchling chirped and stepped forward, claws brushing the surface of the energy crystal inside. The crystal pulsed violently, sparks shooting into the air, and the hatchling's body glowed in response. Rylan's mind raced. If he could guide the hatchling to synchronize with the field, they might stabilize it, maybe even prevent a catastrophic chain reaction. "Stand back," he warned, his voice calm but firm. Crew members hesitated, then obeyed, giving him space. Rylan extended his hand and gently nudged the hatchling closer to the panel. The creature pressed its claws onto the crystal, and instantly the pulsing slowed. Small arcs of energy ran across the hatchling's scales, but the creature didn't flinch. A cheer broke from the crew, relief mixing with awe. "It's working," one of them whispered. Rylan's lips twitched in a small, grim smile. Mini payoff, they had bought precious minutes. But there was no time to celebrate. The alien entity in the shadows shifted, moving closer with a fluid, silent grace. Its shape rippled unnaturally, as if the air around it rejected solid form. Rylan's stomach tightened. This wasn't just curiosity, it was studying them, judging them. He scanned the corridor and saw the sparks from failing conduits approaching the containment unit. If they touched the energy crystal, the field could collapse. Without thinking, he grabbed a maintenance rod and jammed it between two sparking wires, redirecting the energy safely away from the panel. Another mini payoff, quick thinking had prevented immediate disaster. The hatchling chirped again, louder now, and light from its scales shot across the walls, illuminating the alien in the shadows. For the first time, Rylan could see part of its form. Elongated limbs, translucent skin, and faint bioluminescent patterns along its torso. It paused, almost as if startled, and then slowly moved back, merging again into the shadowy wall. "What is it?" someone gasped. "I don't know," Rylan admitted, his eyes never leaving the shadows. "But it's connected to the hatchling somehow. We can't hurt it, or it might destabilize the station entirely." The station shuddered violently. Another surge rattled the secondary containment unit, and warning lights flashed red. Rylan felt the hatchling tense in his arms. It chirped sharply, wings fluttering, tail lashing. Its light projected a new set of symbols across the console. This time the pattern seemed urgent, almost frantic. Rylan's mind raced. He realized the hatchling wasn't just stabilizing the unit, it was communicating. The alien entity was responding, too, in ways no one could see. He placed the hatchling back on the console and spoke softly, "Steady, we need you to hold it together." The creature chirped, leaning into the crystal, its glowing eyes locked on Rylan's. Then the unexpected happened. A sudden pulse shot from the energy crystal, stronger than before. Sparks jumped across the room and the hatchling yelped. Without thinking, Rylan reached out, placing his hand over the hatchling's back. A strange sensation ran through him, heat and vibration coursing up his arm. The crystal's energy stuttered, then calmed. The hatchling chirped again, wings fluttering, and the alien entity in the shadows stiffened, as though observing this human action with calculated interest. Rylan felt a surge of hope. They were learning to work together, the hatchling, him, and maybe even the alien entity. But the relief was short-lived. A section of the floor collapsed near the secondary containment unit, sending loose debris spinning toward the energy crystal. "Move it! Move it now!" Rylan yelled, diving forward. He scooped up the hatchling and jumped over the debris, landing hard on the opposite side of the console. The crystal stabilized, but the hatchling chirped loudly, almost a warning as the alien entity stepped fully into view for the first time. Its glowing patterns shifted rapidly, like a silent signal. Ryland froze, holding the hatchling close. Whatever this was, it had noticed them and now it was ready to act. The hatchling's eyes met his and for a brief second he felt certainty. Whatever threat or mystery the station held, they weren't powerless. But the alien entity's next move would decide everything. Ryland's breath caught in his throat as the alien entity stepped into the corridor's dim light. Its body shimmered like liquid glass, patterns of pale light crawling across its translucent skin. Every movement was deliberate, precise, as if it calculated the consequences of each step. The hatchling chirped sharply, tail lashing, wings quivering in agitation. Ryland tightened his grip around the small creature, feeling its heartbeat against his chest, fast, anxious, but steady. The entity stopped a few meters away, hovering silently. Then, unexpectedly, it extended a thin limb toward the hatchling. The movement was gentle, almost tentative. Ryland froze, unsure if it was about to strike or communicate. The hatchling chirped back, a soft melodic sound, and something remarkable happened. The energy in the corridor shifted. Sparks that had been crackling along damaged conduits softened. Lights along the walls flickered in time with the hatchling's glowing scales. Ryland's mind raced. He realized that this wasn't a hostile creature. It was intelligent. The alien entity was responding to the hatchling as if recognizing it. And in that recognition lay the key to stabilizing the station. He knelt beside the hatchling, whispering, "Work with it, help us understand." The hatchling chirped again, pressing its tiny claws onto the console. Its glow intensified, casting long, shifting shadows. The alien entity mimicked the hatchling's movements in the air, its glowing patterns flickering across the floor. For the first time the station felt alive, not threatening but reactive. Ryland glanced at the secondary containment unit. The energy crystal inside hummed, unstable but contained. If the alien entity and the hatchling were connected, maybe they could channel its energy safely. He placed the hatchling on the edge of the crystal and pressed his hand gently against its back. Heat surged through his palm, a pulsing vibration that ran up his arm. The crystal responded immediately, its dangerous arcs of energy slowing, stabilizing. The crew gasped. One of them, a young technician named Myra, whispered, "It's controlling it." "Yes," Ryland said without taking his eyes off the entity. "But it's more than control, it's communication. And we have to learn fast." Suddenly the alien entity pulsed a bright light, sending waves along the walls. Ryland ducked instinctively, shielding the hatchling. When the light faded, the entity had stepped closer, its gaze locked on him. Then it did something Ryland hadn't expected. It spoke, not with words but with patterns of light, flickering across the corridor like a message encoded in luminescence. The hatchling chirped in response, and Ryland felt a strange understanding pass through him. The creature was showing him the sequence to stabilize the station, step by step. Without hesitation, he followed its guidance, manipulating the control panels with precision. Sparks erupted dangerously close, but he didn't falter. Every movement was deliberate, every choice calculated. A mini payoff came when the secondary containment unit hummed with calm energy for the first time since the storm began. The hatchling chirped softly, wings fluttering as if acknowledging success. Relief rippled through Ryland's body, but he knew better than to celebrate. The alien entity remained, observing, its patterns flickering rapidly. Then the hatchling chirped sharply again, and Ryland saw movement from the observation deck. A shadow flickered across the glass. A second entity? No, something larger, emerging from the station's upper deck. The hatchling leapt into his arms instinctively, wings beating against him. Ryland's pulse quickened. Whatever was coming wasn't small. Whatever it was fast. Ryland bolted toward the nearest reinforced door, the hatchling clinging to him. Sparks danced along the floor and a section of the gravity field flickered off, sending loose tools floating like deadly projectiles. He ducked beneath a spinning wrench, rolled and ran. The alien entity followed, its form moving fluidly, almost like it could slip through cracks in the station itself. Yet it didn't attack. Instead, it seemed to guide him, subtly, nudging him toward a safer route through the station. The gas giant outside raged. Lightning struck the hull, shaking the station violently. Energy warnings blared from every console. Ryland's hand tightened around the hatchling, feeling its small body tremble against him. He whispered, "We're almost there. Just a little further." Finally, he reached the stabilization chamber, a room with reinforced walls and a clear view of the secondary containment units. The hatchling chirped, its scales glowing brighter than ever. The alien entity floated to the center, its light pulsing in a rhythm that matched the hatchling's heartbeat. Rylan realized what he had to do. He placed the hatchling on the central console and stepped back. "We trust you," he said aloud. The hatchling's glow intensified, arcs of energy connecting with the alien entity. Sparks danced harmlessly across the floor, but the containment units stabilized completely. The station systems quieted, alarms fading to soft blinks. The crew let out a collective breath, a mixture of awe and relief. Rylan felt his chest tighten with pride and exhaustion. Mini payoff, the immediate danger had passed, and human courage, combined with quick thinking and empathy, had turned chaos into order. But then the hatchling's glow shifted, projecting new symbols across the walls, symbols that none of them recognized. The alien entity tilted its head toward the projections, as if signaling a new message. Rylan's heart sank slightly. Whatever had just been resolved was only the beginning. He knelt beside the hatchling, whispering, "What are you trying to tell us?" Its small claws rested on the console, wings fluttering nervously, and the light it projected now pointed beyond the station toward the gas giant. Something waited out there. Something bigger. Something they weren't ready for. Rylan exhaled, knowing that their journey had only just begun. The station was calm, for now, but the mysteries were multiplying and the danger outside was far from over. The station groaned under the force of the gas giant's storm. Lightning streaked across the viewports, illuminating jagged cracks along the hull. Sparks rained from the ceilings, arcs of electricity dancing dangerously close to the consoles. Every warning light blinked red, every alarm screamed in a cacophony that made Rylan's teeth ache. But he didn't hesitate. Not now. Not with the hatchling in his arms. "Hold on," he muttered, his voice steady despite the chaos. The hatchling chirped back, wings fluttering against him. Its tiny body radiated heat, a strange energy that pulsed in time with the station's failing systems. Rylan felt that energy resonate in his own chest, a surge of courage, a reminder that humans could do what logic alone couldn't. The alien entity hovered near the secondary containment units, patterns of light flickering across its translucent skin. It wasn't attacking. It was waiting, watching, calculating. And now, somehow, it seemed to be guiding them. Rylan sprinted down the corridor, dodging debris and floating tools, toward the central stabilization chamber. A section of floor buckled under the stress, forcing him to leap across a yawning gap. The hatchling clung to him, tiny claws gripping his shoulder, wings beating furiously. Sparks licked his boots as he landed, and a console exploded in a shower of sparks behind him. He reached the chamber and placed the hatchling on the central console. Its glow flared, illuminating the room in silver-blue light. Arcs of energy from the containment units leapt toward the ceiling, threatening to strike the walls. The hatchling chirped sharply, and Rylan understood. It needed him to coordinate, to act as a bridge between the creature and the station systems. "All right," he muttered, voice low but firm. "We do this together." He reached for the control panels, fingers flying across buttons, levers, and touchscreens. Every input adjusted the flow of energy, guiding it safely through the station's conduits. Sparks erupted around him, one slicing across his arm. Pain lanced, but he didn't flinch. He swallowed it, focusing entirely on the task at hand. The hatchling's glow intensified, its scales shimmering as arcs of energy danced along its body. The alien entity floated closer, patterns flashing faster, almost in rhythm with the hatchling. Then came the first real shock. The alien entity extended a thin filament-like limb, connecting directly with the hatchling. A surge of energy shot through the chamber, making the floor tremble beneath them. Rylan didn't panic. He gritted his teeth and pressed his hand onto the hatchling's back, feeling the pulse of energy surge through him as well. The station groaned, lights flickered, and the containment units shuddered violently. Sparks arced toward the walls, threatening to ignite exposed conduits. But Rylan held his ground. Every second he remained steady, the hatchling and the alien entity could channel the energy safely. Suddenly, a massive jolt threw him to the floor, knocking the hatchling from his grasp. It landed lightly on the console, wings fluttering, chirping urgently. Rylan scrambled to his knees, lunging for it, just as a fragment of ceiling fell between them. Sparks rained down and the air sizzled with electricity. Time seemed to slow. The hatchling leapt onto the nearest containment unit, claws pressing against the glowing crystal. Light exploded from its body, arcs of energy connecting to the alien entity. The chamber trembled, but the surge stabilized the units instead of destroying them. The alien entity pulsed again, almost like it was acknowledging the human's role. Rylan felt a swell of pride and relief, but it was short-lived. The station groaned louder than ever. A new crack opened along the hull near the observation deck, and a massive wave of energy from the gas giant's storm hit the outer panels. Systems blinked in alarm, and for a moment, the stabilization they'd achieved seemed on the verge of collapse. Rylan didn't hesitate. He picked up the hatchling again, holding it close. "We're not done," he whispered. With a surge of determination, he sprinted toward the hull breach, dodging floating debris and electrical arcs. The hatchling chirped, wings beating, scales glowing like molten metal, feeding off his energy and courage. He reached the breach and pressed the hatchling against the exposed panel. The creature chirped sharply, glowing brighter than before. The alien entity hovered behind them, its patterns flashing wildly. Rylan realized the hatchling was acting as a stabilizer, absorbing and redirecting the storm's energy through its bond with the entity. Sweat stung his eyes, his lungs burned, but he didn't let go. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, the hull stabilized. Sparks faded, lights steadied, alarms dulled. The hatchling chirped, wings fluttering, scales shimmering in soft relief. Rylan exhaled, feeling a wave of exhaustion wash over him. Mini payoff. The immediate catastrophe was averted, human courage had turned the tide, and the hatchling, tiny, seemingly fragile, had proven itself extraordinary. But then the hatchling projected a new light across the room, symbols forming rapidly on the walls. The alien entity's patterns shifted in response, flickering violently. The symbols pointed outward toward the gas giant. Rylan's pulse quickened. This wasn't just about the station anymore. The storm, the alien, the hatchling, it was all connected to something bigger, something beyond their immediate danger. He looked down at the hatchling, wings fluttering nervously against his chest. "We did it," he murmured, voice barely audible over the fading alarms. "But I think this is just the beginning." Outside the observation deck, a massive silhouette shifted in the storms above the gas giant. Lightning illuminated a shape unlike anything human or alien. The next challenge was coming. Rylan felt a familiar surge of determination. No matter the odds, no matter the danger, he would face it. Humanity, courage, and quick thinking had brought them this far, and he would not stop now. The hatchling chirped sharply, nuzzling his hand. It was small. It was fragile. But it had already changed the fate of the station. And now, together, they would face whatever came next. The station settled into an uneasy calm. Red warning lights still blinked faintly, and the hum of damaged systems reminded everyone of how close they had come to disaster. Rylan sat on the floor of the stabilization chamber, cradling the hatchling in his arms. Its small body glowed softly, scales shimmering like silver embers. He could feel its heartbeat, steady and strong, and in that moment, a quiet sense of awe settled over him. Around him, the crew moved cautiously, inspecting systems and securing loose equipment. Some exchanged glances, their disbelief giving way to admiration. Rylan had not only survived the storm, but he had also guided the hatchling, and in doing so the alien entity, to stabilize a station that had seemed doomed. Humanity, quick thinking, and courage had turned chaos into order. "Is it really done?" Myra asked, voice shaking slightly. She approached, eyes wide, staring at the glowing hatchling. Rylan nodded, still holding the creature close. "For now. But this hatchling, it's more than we understand. And the entity we encountered, it's not just some random intelligence. They're connected. Somehow they were waiting for us." The hatchling chirped softly, nuzzling against Rylan's hand. Its glow flickered, projecting faint patterns into the air. Symbols, alien and strange, moved like liquid light across the walls. The crew watched in silence. No one knew what it meant, but the sense of purpose radiating from the hatchling was undeniable. Rylan's mind worked quickly. He understood the small victories. They had stabilized the station, prevented a collapse. But the larger mystery remained. The hatchling was clearly a key, a living bridge between humans and the alien technology embedded in the station. And the alien entity, it had reacted to Rylan, not just the hatchling. It had tested him, judged him. And now, somehow, it had accepted his presence. A soft alarm chimed, drawing everyone's attention. It wasn't a warning this time, it was a communication signal from the alien entity. The light patterns formed words or something like words. Rylan leaned closer, realizing that the entity was directing them toward a deeper layer of the station, a core system that might reveal more about the technology and the purpose of the hatchling. He glanced down at the hatchling, which chirped in response to the symbols. A small, almost playful nuzzle as if urging him to follow. Ryland smiled faintly, a mix of relief and anticipation. "All right, little one. Let's see where this goes." The crew gathered around him, eyes full of admiration and newfound respect. No one doubted his courage now. They had seen firsthand how one human, guided by intelligence, empathy, and determination, could stabilize systems, calm chaos, and even communicate with beings far beyond their comprehension. Humanity had shone in a place where logic alone might have failed. Ryland carefully stood, holding the hatchling in one hand while gesturing for the crew to follow. The alien entity floated just behind them, patterns of light flickering as if guiding their path. Together they moved through the corridors toward the core, passing sections that had once been dangerous, now calm thanks to the combined efforts of human bravery and the hatchling's abilities. As they reached the central hub, the hatchling chirped again. Its glow intensified, projecting a wide array of symbols onto the floor and walls. Ryland realized that these symbols weren't just instructions, they were a map. A map leading beyond the station toward the gas giant itself. Something out there was waiting, something that connected to the hatchling and the alien entity. He knelt beside the hatchling, fingers brushing its scales. "We've done what we can here," he said softly. "But whatever comes next, we'll face it together." The creature chirped in response, wings fluttering, nuzzling his hand once more. It was a tiny gesture, but one that carried enormous meaning. A bond between human and dragon, courage and instinct, logic and empathy. Outside, the gas giant continued to churn violently, storms raging across its surface. Lightning arced in the distance, illuminating a shape that had been glimpsed before, massive and alien, moving through the storm clouds. Ryland didn't flinch. He had faced chaos, danger, and the unknown, and he had prevailed. The hatchling's presence reminded him that even the smallest beings, when paired with human courage and intelligence, could change the course of events. The crew looked at Ryland, their expressions a mixture of awe and trust. Myra spoke first. "What happens now?" Ryland glanced at the hatchling, then back at the storm outside. "Now," he said, "we learn. We prepare. And we follow the signs wherever they lead." His voice carried quiet authority, born of experience and action. Humanity had proven its worth here, not through power but through courage, empathy, and determination. The hatchling chirped once more, wings fluttering, and projected a faint trail of symbols into the station's observation viewport. The glowing path led outward, beyond the station, pointing toward the unknown depths of the gas giant. The alien entity's patterns flickered in agreement, as if confirming a mission or challenge ahead. Ryland's heart tightened with a mix of anticipation and resolve. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. Humanity had survived storms, alien entities, and near-impossible odds, and they had done so with courage, intelligence, and heart. He tightened his grip on the hatchling, whispering, "Let's go find out what's waiting for us." The creature chirped sharply, nuzzling his hand as if ready for whatever came next. And above the swirling storms of the gas giant, a massive shadow moved. Something bigger, older, and more mysterious than anything they had yet encountered. The hatchling's glow pulsed in recognition, the alien entity's patterns shifted, and Ryland's eyes hardened with determination. Humanity, small and fragile, was ready to shine again.